Understanding a feature of the governance that is democracy is the target of the day. My dear class 9 students, so books are being renewed. Yet I know that it is still in hold by CBSE, but we have to study because as you know that syllabus academic is being released by CBSE and we are working on it. We already studied a lot of chapters and this is the first chapter of civics. I got lot of comments regarding the demand of this chapter. Ma'am, please bring democracy. So here it is, the first chapter of your civics, not the first chapter of your part 1 book of class 9th. Keep that in mind. So talking about this chapter, understanding democracy, my dear students, if you are the student who have seen the old book, you will figure out that this chapter was already last year with the name What is Democracy and Why Democracy, where we discuss about the basic philosophies and the basic principles behind what democratic setup. However, we studied it relating to other countries like China, Pakistan, then we heard a case of Mexico, Zimbabwe, etc. But this year what they have done, they have updated with these cases, like the example of different countries in a different parameter is being shown to you. So yes, there is a lot of change in this chapter which we are going to cover today. So let's begin with the decoding of the name, what is democracy? Because the chapter's name is Understanding Democracy and we actually need to understand democracy today. However, do you think that this task is so easy? Understanding a word democracy going in the world with different phases? No, not at all. So my dear students, see, democracy is not at all a modern phenomena. If you think that democratic government only exists in the modern states, in the modern time, then you are wrong. Because no, its origin is somewhere stated back to how much? It is somewhere stated back to 500 BC. That means before the birth of Jesus Christ. 500 CE in Athens. But before that, let me tell you, there was a philosopher, a psychologist who gave us a definition of democracy, that man's capacity for justice makes democracy possible. See, what happens now when a lot of humans or a lot of citizens resides in a territorial area, in a fixed territorial area, there are a lot of times they live together very happily, providing justice to each other in terms of where it is needed. Okay? There are times when democracy can coexist very nicely, but when man started doing injustice to each other now, and there is a time when democracy becomes a necessity. To understand it better, let's see from where did democracy word coined. So the term democracy was coined in ancient Athens. Here I am talking about the region of Greece. So it was in history known as Athens. So it was coined in ancient Athens in 500 BCE. Right? It comes from a word democratia. It comes from a word democratia. Okay, it is a Greek word. What it is? My dear students, here a question will come. What is democracy? So the democracy word comes from a Greek word. It is coined from a Greek word democratia, where this word demo means what? People. Okay, where this word demo means what? People. And kratia means rule, or we can call it power. So can we call democracy as rule of people? Yes, actually it is. It is the rule of people. In a democracy form of setup, whoever is going to rule us is decided by us. Here us means people, and here is what the word actually means. So again, democracy word comes from a Greek word democratia, where demo means people and kratia means rule. Hence we can call democracy as rule of people. But what actually it is? Is it a rule of people? No. It is a form of government. Pay attention, it is not directly the rule of people. Not we every day go to the parliament and decide everything, right? So it is a form of government in which rulers are elected by the people. Again, I am repeating the statement. What it is? It is the form of government. It is the form of government. In the world, there are various forms of government. Today we are going to understand about democracy. At the end of the chapter, I'll also share you alternatives to the democratic form of government. That does all the countries following democracy? No, we know a great dictator country in the world, that's North Korea. So is it democratic country? Not at all. Then what it is? Right? Like North Korea, ma'am, are there alternatives to democracy? Yes, they are. So you have to wait for the entire class. At the end, there is a topic alternatives to democracy to understand it better. Okay? First of all, we will figure out what is democracy. Again, I'm repeating, it is a form of government where the rulers are elected by the people living in that territory. And here we completed this. So everyone know this figure, right? Abraham Lincoln. If you guys know that he was 16th president of United States of America, right? I know that when you were a kid, actually right now also, but in your classes like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere, you might have heard about the motivational stories of Abraham Lincoln, right? How he studied, how he fought against the system of racism there, and how he became the 16th president of United States of America. But why we are referring him here in this chapter democracy is because he gave us a definition of democracy which is actually very relevant, that it is a government of the people, right? Pay attention to the words. It is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Who make the ruler? We. That means by the people, right? The ruler work from whom? For us. That means for the people. So pay attention to this definition, that democracy is the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, right? However, putting all these three particular person in a single frame is quite injustice, however, but still I did it. I think that Hitler is not going to leave me after seeing this picture. So he is well known for a democratic personality, and these two people are well known for dictatorial type of rule. Here is Hitler and here is Mussolini. I'll brief about them to you so that you can understand how in the world different type of leaders existed. So if you know about Hitler, actually in your class 9th old books, you were having a chapter, complete chapter about Nazism, where you could have learned how particularly Hitler, because of his philosophy of the survival of the fittest, choose a certain race that can only live in his country, right? Similarly was Mussolini. So you know that Hitler gave rise to a concept that is Nazism, right? And here this Mussolini gave rise to a system that is fascism. The difference between Nazism and fascism is quite not more. However, the fascist leaders were also believing in the theory of racism a lot, that these are my people, others need to be killed. Right? Mussolini belonged to Italian territory, and there he started the concept of fascism. So, however, you can see here different forms of government that existed. Dictatorial form of government and a democratic form of government. And this is how the chapter starts here. Now, again and again, we are reading a word that is people, like Abraham Lincoln, to the people, by the people, right? From the people. So who are these people? If you go and read the preamble of India, right? If you go and read the preamble of India, whenever I say students to read the preamble of India, they are going to Google it out or something like that. But students, have you ever noticed in your NCERT, in some of the starting pages, there is always a preamble that you actually don't know, right? From my point of view, every Indian should learn this preamble by heart and decode all the words given in preamble, and this is how you can know only your India, right? So when you will read this preamble, go and do it today, fine. So when you will read this preamble, The first three words are we the people. When you read the definition given by Abraham Lincoln, again you will read a word, the people. So actually, who are these people, right? Whom we are considering this as people is that everyone living in a country is a people, right? Everyone we considered as people for a democratic form of setup? No, actually not. So we just studied that since 500 BCE, right, a democratic form of system or a setup existed in ancient Athens, right? So that means this Greek people might be using this democratic system from in all the times. But do you know that this Greek did not give the voting right to obviously women, along with them slaves, or to any foreign therefore? So can we call that everyone that is residing in a territory is a people for the Greek people? No. Then how we can say that the government is formed for the people, by the people? It is not by all the people. First thing, yes, this was a loophole. Switzerland, if I talk about particularly Switzerland, they granted women the right to vote at a federal level in 1971. So it's not only about Greek, it's not only about Switzerland, it's all about all the countries. Like India was a country which got independent in 1947, but the constitution when made gave voting right to women from that time only. But we can take the case of USA, we can take the case of UK, when their constitution was written, not the voting rights were given to everyone in the territory, including the women. So we cannot call the people everyone in the territory. Like one more example I will give you. We know that 1947 India became independent, but there is a clause. There is a clause that anyone who is above 18 years of age, that we call as universal adult franchise, right? Anyone who is above 18 years of age can vote. So yes, my dear students, to democracy, to the definition of people also lies certain exceptions which are needed for the society. Like if I talk about the case of women, the case of slaves that were restricted to vote in the previous time was a different scenario. That was the mentality and that was different thing. But right now, considering this age as a factor is basically certain exceptions in a democracy. Okay. However, other than this age, there should be no discrimination on any basis like caste, gender, color, race, etc. Get it? And this is actually what the word people mean. Before moving to the next topic, not going to end the chapter entirely right now. Hope I am visible to all of you. Before moving to the next chapter, next topic, let's solve quickly some questions. Okay, the questions are, the word democracy comes from the Greek word where? Democratia, it's krasia. Okay, democratia, demos or krasia. So obviously B is the correct answer to this question. Very good. Second, which among the following define democracy as the government of the people, by the people and for the people? The great personality of all the time, that was Abraham Lincoln. And the third one, what is direct democracy? My dear student, this question, direct democracy, will be clear to all of you by the end of the lecture. So let's move to the next one, that is roots of democracy in India. This is the actual change what CBSE has done, right? Up till now, the NCERTs you guys were reading were actually designed by Britishers. If I say the truth, yes it is. It was designed totally by the British curriculum that was being followed in India since century. But now, the revival is somewhere in a point of view that we learn about the history, the past, the roots of India. And here a topic is there, root of democracy in India. Like we studied, democracy is not a modern concept. It was a concept seen in Athens 500 BC. Then what about India? Right? Did the democracy concept was introduced to us by Britishers, or it was actually implemented only in 1947? So let's have a look according to this. So, in the Vedic culture, Acha, now you are students who might have studied the chapter State and Society. Or I believe you are someone remembering what you studied in class 6th. Do you? I hope that. So, beta, in class 6, we studied about the Vedic age, Vedic society. Okay, where Vedas were written in India, Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharva Veda, right? The earliest Veda was Rig Veda, and when we read those Vedas, we will actually understand the state and society. So what happened now? Large kingdoms started to become at that time. I'll tell you with the help of a flow chart what we are going to understand here. So what happened in the Indian society, beta? There was a stone age, right? There was a stone age where tools and implements made of stone was used. Like if you remember Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. At this time, humans were majorly hunters and gatherers. They hunt and eat. They gather food and eat and then move to another places. We can call them nomadic life or wanderers. Now what happened? After the Stone Age, we have seen a change in the society where metals came into use. And among them, the first metal was copper. And hence this age is known as Chalcolithic, what sometimes people call as Chalcolithic age. Isn't it? After that, we did the discovery of iron. Now iron was a strong material, right, which can be used to cut a lot of trees. They did it, right, in the Indus Valley region, in the Ganga plain. So a lot of trees were cut down and people started moving there. It was a fertile land, and actually in the Neolithic age they learned about farming, and in farming they have to settle there. So this was a phase where humans started learning settlements. Okay, in these settlements, like some people stayed together, some people stayed together. Day by day, this resulted into janpads. Okay, janpads. Jan means people, pads mean area. So the area where the people started living, which eventually resulted into Mahajanpads. Mahajanpads, large territories. My dear students, to rule this large territory or to maintain law and order in this large territory, someone was required. From where that someone comes? So, now coming back to, in the Vedic culture, there were Sabha and Samiti. So, among those members, they choose basically, they elect the elders majorly. Okay, elders majorly or the rich peoples majorly, comprising and forming what? Sabha and Samiti. So these were the, this is how a small concept of democracy we can see here. Other than that, we followed the concept of brotherhood of mankind that is expressed with the principle of Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So right now, as we considered India as the territory, so what happens with this terminology Vasudeva Kutumbakam that used to bring the people of India, or that time we didn't coin the word India, but as it was Bharatam, right? So to create the feeling of brotherhood among the mankind, this terminology was used. If I particularly talk about this period 600 BCE to 400 BC, this was the major time when Mahajanpads, a lot of Mahajanpads, some around major 16 Mahajanpads were there. Also mentioned in Buddhist and Jainist texts too. So, in these Mahajanpads, we saw a word or a concept that is republic. Now, what is republic? Beta, pay attention. From this republic, a democratic feature is there. I'm not calling it a democracy. Again, I'm not calling it a democracy. This is how we saw that in ancient India, certain features were there. Do you know what do you mean by the word republic? Right? In republic, it means that the head of the state. Okay, the head of the state. Here the state means Mahajanpad. Okay, the head of the state is elected by the people. Do this exist really? Yes, at that time there was Mahajanpads like Vajji, right? As well as Shakyas, right? If I talk about Vaji, the present day area near Varanasi, okay? The present day area near Varanasi is referred as Vaji. There were a lot of Mahajanpads, if you guys remember. There were a lot of Mahajanpads. So, in the northern plain area only, okay? So, we have seen this concept of republic where the Raja or the Raja's council, right, that Sabha and Samiti was chosen by the people. This is an example, right? Now if I tell you that what happened, like Mahajanpads were there. In that Mahajanpads, after that Mauryan Empire came. After Mauryan Empire, the great empire of India was Guptas. Bhai, this is something which you can collect by the memory of class 6. Okay, I can't teach you like how the rulers came and all right now because this is a civics chapter. So, after Mauryans who came? Guptas. And do you know that Gupta period is referred as golden age of India? Why? Why? Because they used gold coins as a medium of exchange? No. However, that's true. They used gold coins, but this is not referred as golden age only because of that gold coins, but because of also the golden feature that was administration. Do you know, they administered in a way that they have developed a high degree of local self-governance. They have developed a high degree of local self-governance. Can you guys see panchayat and municipalities around you working at the local level, right? Working in a way that cleaning your streets, working in a way that whenever you require your street lights to be repaired, they are doing it. Okay, they are collecting your drainage waste, etc., etc. So from where these local bodies came? Yes, in the Gupta Empire, they show a high degree of performance, and this was one of the feature of administration. Right? What I have learned about Gupta Empire is that what they did, they made different local bodies. They divided that there will be a water committee looking after the water availability for a region, right? There will be a construction committee looking for the construction needed in the society. So yes, the ancient Indian civilization or the ancient Indian period can be referred as golden period. Here I am particularly referring to the Gupta age, right? So here are certain other definite meanings also. Did you know? According to Greek scholar of Alexander's time, some form of democracy was used by republics in ancient India. See, so we are aware about the Alexander's attack on India, right, which was not successful, but still. So the Greek scholars of that time is referring that by some form of republics existed in India. You know that when Alexander attacked India, it was the time of Mahajanpads ruling over there, right? There was a dynasty known as Nanda dynasty ruling the entire part of Punjab region at that time, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, okay? So, there was Nanda dynasty at that time, and it was so stiff and strong that Alexander did not move towards India, etc. So how the reference of republic came in this Greek scholar's mind? It might be existing. Yes, actually it was existing, my dear students. So this is it. Around the time of Buddha, the Sabars and Sambastal states, that is now in Pakistan and Afghanistan. See, again, I am here again and again referring to India. So the time we are discussing about, okay, ancient India, actually it was Indian subcontinent that contains the territory of Pakistan, parts of Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh. So beta, so there were two territorial states now in Pakistan and Afghanistan. They followed the similar form of government. Okay, so as Greek region used to, there was a movement. Again, there was movement of Greek people in India. Scholars came, traders came, and this is how in their book there is a reference that yes, republics existed in India. So what is the actual depth of this? That we have roots in democracy. Okay, coming to the next one. So let's quickly recall what we studied up till now. Democratic ideas existed in India long before the rise of modern democracies. Okay, Vedic assemblies and panchayats allow people to participate in the decision making. So as we see movies, there is a banyan tree, the sarpanch along with his punch, 5 members sitting, and lot of people from the village are sitting. What they are discussing? They are discussing about what they need, what is the requirement in the village. Don't you think that is participation in the decision making? Yes, it is. So this is how we did. Republics such as Vajis and Shakyas follows elected representatives. Okay, local self-government through village council ensured decentralization. Here they are talking about Gupta power. Okay, modern Indian democracy has grown from this early Indian democratic traditions. Hence concluded that the democratic system which we are talking about is not borrowed from any British origin committee or something like that. We have the depth in our Indian system too. Okay, so this is the introduction, and you might be thinking, ma'am, 25 minutes and just the introduction? Yes. Now coming towards the important topic that can be asked as a very, very good question to you, that write down or list down what the features of democracy. List down the important features of democracy. Bacha, this question is a question obviously for 5 marks. If you are in class 9th and struggling to find how the question comes, so this is how we will do in between of the lectures. Okay? Now only the heading of these are given. I'm going to explain them in detail. What is the feature of democracy? From where the democratic word comes? Democratia, that means rule of people. So the first point here is the final decision is done by or taken by elected representatives. Now a word came here, representative. See, I'll tell you the example. In the ancient Greek period, in the ancient Athens, in a lot of countries existing in Europe at that time, you know, what was the system? There was a system of direct democracy. Acha, ma'am, this is what new thing? Democracy was not enough that you added direct democracy. So, what is direct democracy, my dear students? Say, in case there are 1 crore population, there is 1 crore population in a country. See, we can't imagine that because this system cannot exist in India anyway. So, let's consider that there is 1 crore people in a country, and the country is so large that the decision can be taken by the people. Large country divided into certain states where small population lives. So that small population take directly the part in the decision making. That means that they themselves form the government, right? But this can only be possible when the area is small or the country's population is small. But being in a country, India, with 1 to 1 CR population, do you think that this is possible? No. So what do? Consider this as India. We have divided it into administrative units, that is states of India, like Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, etc. Do we did this? Yes. So to rule the entire nation, we have a central government. What do we have? We have a central government. In this central government, there are 2 houses, Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. Okay, there are members over there making decisions regarding the life of the Indians. Yes. From where these members came? These members are elected from these states. Okay, so according to the proportion of population, like in UP, there is more population, so more number of people go to the parliament. Kerala, there is less population, less people go to the parliament. For an example, 50 members from Madhya Pradesh, 70 members from UP, 80 members from Bihar. So they will be elected by this population and go to central government, take the decision as representatives of the people. Okay, we as citizens cannot go to the parliament daily, take decisions. Hence, we elect what bacha? Representatives. And the decision making is done by that representatives, which is final. Did you get this first point as a feature of democracy? Very good. Now next comes as free and fair elections, beta. This is the very essence of democracy. A democratic system cannot be imagined. Like we as the people, the citizens are choosing what? The leaders. What happened one day? You got to know that EVM was hacked and all your votes went into the wrong party which you did not choose. You will be disheartened. You will not be happy with the government ruling yours. And there will be lot of civil clashes in the country, and hence to prevent that, the basic feature is free and fair election. You are not charged for giving your vote, right? As well, it should be fair, transparent, accountable. Okay, however, a lot of chances. See, it is democracy, corruption is also a part of it. Right now, we are not talking about negatives. We will do it later. So, we are talking about the positives. Universal suffrage. Now, this is one of the good feature. So universal suffrage, the word suffrage here means right to vote, right, which you guys don't have right now. So wait until you become 18. So universal suffrage is something that is referred as right to vote, that is given to, in India the criteria is 18 years of or above. So here the criteria is 18 years or above. In India the criteria is what? 18 years of or above. Along with that, we got lot of rights. Yeah. Democratic system comes with rights of individuals. However, that rights are the rights are not like you can do anything. No, they are covered with reasonable restrictions. I'm not telling you restrictions, I'm telling you reasonable restrictions, like freedom of speech and expression, we do it. Freedom to form associations, a lot of groups, movements are being done. Freedom of culture and religion, you can follow any religion, follow any culture, right? Individual freedom, like we have a lot of individual freedom, right to privacy, right to speak, right, many. And then rule of law. So basically, what is this rule of law? From where does this word comes? So beta, in this rule of law, right, see, pay attention. Who is the head of the nation? People. Final decisions are taken by the elected representatives of the people. Free and fair elections for the people. Suffrage given to the people. Freedom of expression to the people. But this doesn't mean that people become so sovereign, so supreme that they stop following what is needed for a nation, or they become so harsh for the nation. And hence there is a concept, rule of law, that no one is above this law. Right? Here law comes with a constitution. By constitution is what? Constitution is book of rules. Okay, or we can call it book of laws. That is something to be followed by the government and by the people too. So no one is above the law. This is also a feature of democracy, so that if in case government is doing wrong with the people, they can't do it because they are not above the law, and law do not allow to do this. Getting my point? Do you feel the subject as boring? No, don't you? Because we will here discuss about the case of China. In some countries such as China, only the ruling party can put up the candidates. So in last year book, there was a topic about the case of China. If I tell you, so China, what happened? China is a single party country. Like in India, you can choose BJP, you can choose AAP party, Indian National Congress, whatever you want. But there, the leaders only come from one single party, that is Communist Party of India. Ma'am, does it mean they don't have other party? Bhai, they have. They have different parties, but unfortunately, they need these small parties also become the part of Communist Party, because this constitution, it is written that China is a single party system. So in some countries such as China, only ruling party can put up candidates. Voters have to choose between the two candidates put by the ruling party. There is a candidate A, there is a candidate B. You have to both you have to vote any one of them, but both of them belong to Communist Party. Don't you think this is a loophole in a democratic system? Can you call it a democracy? Answer me right now in the comments section. Okay, so yes, this is what the question I was discussing about. Let's move to types of democracy. See, the next particular topic, bacha, is type of democracy that I actually discussed with you. Okay, one is direct democracy and the other one is representative democracy. Yes, we can sometimes call it as indirect. However, I would suggest don't write the word indirect, write it as representative democracy. Okay? So how many types of democracies are there? There are two types of democracies. Ma'am, one is direct, other one is representative. What is direct democracy? A form of democracy in which citizens participate directly. Like there is a decision that needed to be made for a country. Who will take the decision? All the people directly participating in the decision making. Okay, there is no need of representatives we choose here. They will go to the parliament, sit in the parliament, take the decision. That can only be possible when there is less population in a country or the size of the country is very small. Get it? Now come to the second topic, that is representative democracy. Now what happened in a larger country, lot of people, not all of them go sit in the parliament, take the decisions daily, and hence we elect our representatives. Popularly, this is referred as representative democracy. Now, ma'am, a question. Please tell us that in any country, does this direct democracy exist? So, bacha, you have to understand that point nicely, right? See, right now in this 21st century, direct democracy is not possible. But there are certain features like referendums, okay, etc., which are followed by certain European countries, maybe Switzerland. What happened in these referendums? For example, there is a topic, right? There is a question or a decision that government needs to take. This is a territory, okay? I'm just telling you an example, okay? This is a small territory over which there was clash for certain years that this belongs to tribe A, okay, or this belongs to tribe B. So government was not able to take the decision. Then government can do referendum. Referendum means voting. The type of voting in which people are taking the decision that does it belongs to tribe A or tribe B. You can vote and take the decision. Whatever be the result in the majority will be taken. Like it was asked by Jawaharlal Nehru to do such type of referendum for the case of Jammu and Kashmir during the time that fight or clash was going on. Okay, however, that referendum was never done. So yes, referendum is a part of or an example of direct democracy which some countries take, but not completely a direct democracy exists in the world. However, yes, lot of countries there follow representative democracy. Get it? Chalo. Now let's move to democratic systems in the world or democratic setups in the world. Now ma'am, what is this? Bhai, topics are not going to complete. Okay, before moving to this, let's recall what we studied up till now. Where we started? What is democracy? Okay, we studied that Abraham Lincoln as well as the statement given by him. Then we studied that it comes from a Greek word. Once we did about what is democracy, we further moved towards features of democracy. Okay, 5 features, however 8 were listed there. You have to mug up it in your mind for your exams. And then we studied about types of democracy that included direct as well as indirect or representative. Now, bhai, how actually it is being followed? Now the question is, what are the democratic systems in the world? So this is here. One is parliamentary form of government. The other one is presidential form of government. Okay, one is parliamentary form of government and the other one is presidential form of government. Let me explain this to you. So beta, when I talk about democracy in this 21st century, bhai, which century? 21st century. So when I talk about democracy, it is basically representative democracy now. Okay, representative democracy. That means we choose our representatives. Yes, ma'am, but the question is, like, Prime Minister of India is our representative. Okay, yes. President of India is our representative. Yes, ma'am. But in some of the countries, there is only Prime Minister. Some of the countries, there is only President. Right? Now the question is, ma'am, in India, who is more powerful? It is Prime Minister or President? What is this going on? Everything is like getting in the mind and not being cleared because a lot of concepts are there. Yes, that will be cleared to you with the help of this. So, basically, there are two different forms of government in the world. ठीक है बेटा, one is parliament. Okay, one is parliamentary form of government, the other one is presidential form of government. See, so the one is parliamentary form of government, presidential form of government. What does it actually means and what are the difference between the two? ठीक है, see, now there are lot of people in a country, right? Lot of people in a country, lot of people residing in a country. So what they will do? Among these people, they will choose their representatives. Like this is the representative, this is the representative. These representatives go and form the government. ठीक है, go and form the government. This is something you are very much clear about. ठीक है, and now the type of government will be different. Like we will take the example of this parliamentary form of government. Beta, there is a body, ठीक है, that there is a body which is referred as parliament. It is what? Body of elected representatives. It is body of elected representatives. Okay, who elect those elected representatives? The citizens of the country. So what is parliament? It is body of elected representative. Indian parliament is referred as Indian parliament. Like in Russia, we call it Reichstag. Similarly, right, like Congress in one country, similarly in the world, the name of these parliaments are different by different countries. I'm giving you a homework and that is to figure out the name of these parliaments. Make a list today. Okay, chalo. So parliament is the body of elected representatives. These elected representatives makes the parliament. Let me take you to the case of India. Right, let me take you to the case of India. So we have बच्चा parliament in India. ठीक है, this parliament consists of Lok Sabha, 2 houses, plus Rajya Sabha. Okay, Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha. Right, here in Lok Sabha direct elections happens. However, for the Rajya Sabha indirect. We are not talking about elections. We are just discussing that yes, the members, for example, in Lok Sabha, there are 545 members. All are elected by the people. Can we call them elected representatives? Yes. Whose elected represent are? Similarly, 245 members in Rajya Sabha. So, all these constitute to form parliament that take the decisions for the country. But in this parliament, beta, pay attention that in this Indian parliament, among these total members of parliament, what is being seen that whoever won the majority votes, okay, whoever won the majority votes will form the government. For example, BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party is in majority, that will become the government. Okay, the head of this government, pay attention to that. the head of the government is Prime Minister, because he is actually the head of that party BJP. So here comes the Prime Minister. Got it? Parliamentary form of government is a type of government in which Parliament has all the powers regarding the decision making. Who has all the power? Parliament. And what is Parliament? Group of people that are elected representatives. Then I told you the case of India, where Prime Minister is head of our government. ठीक है? Is it clear to everyone? The picture of parliamentary government is closed here. Then we have presidential form of government. ठीक है बेटा? Now pay attention to that. Presidential form of government is formed similar way, but pay attention that this president is the head of government. The head of government. The elections, right? The elections to this post is done separately along with the government. So who is powerful in the presidential form of government? President. Who is powerful in the parliamentary form of government? The group of people. So, definition. In parliamentary democracy, pay attention, the executive power, you know, to implement everything, the power that lies with Prime Minister and their minister is vested in the elected legislature. Now, if you understood with the case of India that Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha, that means parliament. Right? Parliament is referred as legislative body. What it is referred as? Legislative body. That means that have ability to make law, that have ability to take decisions. From this Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, whoever gets majority becomes government and they are referred as executive. Here the government includes Prime Minister plus his ministers. So now, if this government is not working according to the law, then there are legislations sitting to throw them out. So it is the system of checks and balances, and hence we call it parliamentary form. Example is India, UK, Canada, Japan, etc. We have another form, that's presidential, in which who is the executive? Beta, president is the executive as he is independent of legislation. Right? In these countries, parliament will be there. Right? Along with whom? President. But president has the powers. President is not answerable to the parliament. But here, Prime Minister plus his ministers is answerable to the parliament. So, who is supreme here? Parliament. Who is supreme here? President. Now clear with this point? Example of presidential is like US. Everyone know about the case of US, Brazil, Mexico, Indonesia and Nigeria. Now you might be wondering one point, ma'am. That ma'am, you referred everything in this parliamentary form of government, but you missed one point, that is regarding the president. Okay. Now who is he? Do he have no role? Right? And we as India follow parliamentary form of government. How president come? Isn't it presidential? No. Beta, the parliamentary form of government does not mean that the president will not be there in the country. He will be there. Okay? But the president is not the real head. That means the actual power does not lies into the hands of president. Rather, it lies to the hands of executive that comes from this parliament. Getting my point? So in India, the president is the head of the nation. Okay, there is a difference. Head of state. In state, whenever I call state in civics, that's nation. However, Prime Minister is head of government. He is the head of government. The head of state and head of government. Okay, we have both president plus Prime Minister. Here, they only have president. In the parliamentary form, a presidential form of government. Sorry. Get it? Chalo. Cool. Now, coming towards the next important point, that is alternatives to democracy, which creates a lot of confusion in the mind of students. I don't know why. So, beta, you always might be confused in certain terminologies like what is democracy? Now you're clear about what is democracy. Again, democracy is a form of government in which the government is chosen by the people. The representatives are chosen by the people. Get it? Chalo. But now we have terminologies like monarchy, constitutional monarchy, dictatorship, theocracy, and I will add one more from my side, that is republic. Okay? Let's understand them very nicely. So beta, there is monarchy, right? Monarchy comes from a word monarch, for obvious, ma'am. There was a monarch in France. Yes, Louis XVI. We read them about the chapter in French Revolution. We started class 9 with the old books. So yes, monarchy is a type of government in which there is a rule of one person. Okay, in which there is a rule of one person, like monarch, king, queen, but that king, queen position is hereditary. That means their children are going to become the next king or queen. Clear with you? Okay, great. And this is referred as monarchy. Like if I talk about Saudi Arabia or certain Middle East countries which follow this concept, right? Previously, it used to be the part of the system of the government in ancient times. Okay? Now then comes constitutional monarchy. Beta, there are a lot of countries which have the monarch, but they have the constitution. They have the king or queen, but they have the prime minister. Do you remember United Kingdoms? There was a queen. Along with that, the prime minister became one Indian, Rishi Sunak. However, he is not prime minister right now, but still. So that is an example of constitutional monarchy where the king or queen lies in the state. Their position is hereditary, but they do not have the sovereign control. By the word sovereign here means supreme control. They don't have the supreme control. Then the controls lies with the parliament, the body of elected representatives chosen by the people. So who is the head here? Constitution. They are there, but they are acting as just what? Just the like there are times now when the elder people are just in our home are kept for like not kept. I am actually using the wrong words here. But when they get retired, their body is not that strong. They are like we choose them for representing our family strength and all that. So that's the point. Okay? So dictatorship, when the government is not accountable to people, when the government is only formed with the help of power, bhai. Everyone know who is the best example. Okay. Sometimes something are not to be spoken here. Great. Then here is theocracy. Beta, theocracy is where power lies with group of people. Now what is this, ma'am? There is no single head. Rather, there are 5-6 people that are considered as group of people. That is actually happening in the countries which are following religious leaders as their heads. Right? I'll tell you the example. We have certain examples of each of them. We will figure out which case they are talking about. Like, first case is in your book about Idi Amin. Idi Amin became the ruler of Uganda in 1971 after a military coup. Right? Do you know military coup? With the help of power, with the help of military. During his rule, 3 lakh Ugandans lost their life and he forced the Indian minority to even leave Uganda. Can we call it as dictatorship? Yes, because it was only the help of power. Right? His reign was ended after an invasion by Tanzanian forces aided by Ugandan exiles in 1979. Similarly, we have another case of Saudi Arabia. See, Saudi Arabia has been ruled by Saudi royal families since 1932, where the modern kingdom of Saudi Arabia was established. In the modern kingdom, only their rulers were ruling. It is an example of absolute monarchy. They themselves are telling us, beta, that it is absolute monarchy. That means where all the power lies with the hands of monarch. Absolute. Okay? All power lies in the hand of royal family. All the ministers and members belong to royal family even. And this was legitimate, a hereditary system. Get it what monarchy is? Very good. Then there is military dictatorship also. Iraq was ruled by Ba'ath Party from 1968. If you ever heard the word Saddam Hussein, he served as the president of this party. See, this party exists in other countries, however, now it do not exist in Iraq. The military dictator he was, had full and absolute power in the country, or the ordinary citizens have no say in the decision making. He was later topped after the military action by US, UK and allies. So it was in 2006 basically, right, when he was executed. So now Iraq is no longer a democratic, it is democratic. It is no longer under this dictatorship. So there are a lot of cases which we have to understand. See, now comes to the end of the chapter, beta. End of the chapter, like democracy has spread because of major regions. See, before these regions, there was not democracy in all the country. Like India do not have it before 1947. Or if we talk about various countries that was become the colonial, that were under the clutches of colonialism by the European countries. And a lot of countries which have not evolved or got the freedom from the monarchy, right? So these are the three events which changed a lot, like Second World War, right? So what happened after the Second World War? That authoritarian nature was ended. People realized about nationalism. Similarly is decolonization. So beta, colonization means, pay attention, colonization means when these European power like France, Britain came to another countries and make them as a colony. Now what is a colony? So that they can rule over there and use their all resources and use their resources. So it was done. Okay. What is decolonization? When these rulers are taken out of the country and a nationalist government is formed there. So yes, this happened in a lot of countries in Asia, Africa and even in Latin America. Like India got independent, Saudi Arabia got independent. This is one of the part. And the collapse of Soviet Union, beta. In Russia, there was rule of Tsar. Tsar was actually, you guys are now not having the chapter, but earlier it was there present in your book Russian Revolution. So there was Tsarist regime over there who was so authoritarian. So in 1917 the revolution started and finally there was communist government in where? So in Russia. But after that Russia was Soviet Union, popularly known as Soviet Union. In that communist nature also they were using their authoritarian means, their authoritarian nature, which actually ended in 1991 with Soviet Union, right? Soviet Union was a union with Russia and so many small countries like Ukraine, Belarus. So in 1991, those small countries become independent and it was left with Russia, not Soviet Union. So if you read about Vladimir Putin and certain leaders, you will understand they were communist, but they were authoritarian in nature. Okay, so these are the three factors that led to the rise of democracy. But if democracy comes with perks, there are challenges and they are this. However, I have written here less challenges, we know. Lot more are there. So it create a wide gap between rich and poor. Yes, it create, because one thing that comes with democracy is what? Political equality. You are choosing your leader? Yes. Everyone is choosing your leader? Yes. You have right to vote in spite of your caste, color, religion, etc. Yes. But it failed in bringing what? Economic inequality. Right? And there is nowhere written in the constitution that in a democratic system money will be divided equally, because that's not possible. So more money is spent on elections also. This is also a problem. There are a lot of problems like corruption, etc. So once Winston Churchill, the Prime Minister of UK during the Second World War, stated that many forms of government have been tried in the world of sin and woe. No one pretends that democracy is perfect. Like if we go and talk to the people of India or to the people of many democratic countries, they will find so many negatives regarding democracy. But do we have any other alternative? Are you wishing to go to dictatorship? Will you wish to go to monarchy? Will you even wish to go to constitutional monarchy? No. So it has been said that democracy is the worst form of government except all those other forms that have even tried from time to time. Right? So it can be worse, it can be bad a lot of times, but not worse than the other, because we don't have any alternate options to follow that. Okay, so this was the entire chapter democracy from your class 9th new syllabus, and this is how we covered it. You can come in my live sessions, bacha, where we are going to talk about in detail what? In detail the questions that are going to come in this from this chapter. Okay, and for the rest of chapters you need to just subscribe Deeksha Vedantu CBSE English, the channel on which you are watching me right now. And if you need in case the PPT or the notes for this chapter, hit the link in the description box, and do not forget to come in my next lecture. Up till then, tata, bye bye.